Just completely walked into the window with trash in my hand and fell back.
And you think that that's Mr. McIntyre's fault?
I'm not a clumsy guy.
Now the cleaning lady comes clean.
He jumped the fence because he was intoxicated.
You saw him fall.
I did, and he called his mom right away. And then she told him to sue them. That I heard.
This is Judge Judy. Maurice Barnes is suing bed and breakfast owner Edward McIntyre for lost wages and pain and suffering resulting from an accident that occurred on his premises.
Judge, this is case number 112 on the calendar in the matter of Barnes versus McIntyre. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. and Mrs. McIntyre, how long have you run a bed and breakfast?
2 years, ma'am, Your Honor.
Did you own the house before you started to run the bed and breakfast, or did you buy it as a bed and breakfast?
We bought it as a bed and breakfast. It was that way for 35 years.
So you bought it as a running business?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. This is what your case is about. Mr. Barnes, you were a guest in the McIntyre's bed and breakfast, and at some point during your stay, you were injured. You claim you were injured as a result of their negligence. You want them to be responsible for that. Mr. McIntyre and his wife say you are responsible, that you were drunk at the time, and they have a counterclaim. A counterclaim is that you defamed them in your review of their property, and as a result of that defamation, they lost business. That's your counterclaim. So, Mr. Barnes, why don't you tell me what you were doing renting a bed and breakfast facility?
So I was renting a hotel before I had the bed and breakfast because originally I had a house fire, and that's how this all started, where I was renting a hotel during COVID time. So I figured the bed and breakfast would be
Now,
a
look
safe...
at me. Look at me. When did you have a house fire?
This was October 26, 2019.
Were you renting a room in that house, or did you own that house?
I own the house. I live
Where
in the house now.
Where is it located?
It's in La Costa, Carlsbad, California.
Is what I'm understanding that you were renting other accommodations while your house was being fixed?
Yes.
As a result of the fire?
Yes.
From there, did you move into the bed and breakfast?
Yes.
And did you have a month's obligation?
We were going week to week.
And how much a week?
Okay, it was $70 a night, and then I had to pay for breakfast. It would come out to roughly $490 a week.
What date did you move out?
It was around June.
June, not around.
2nd. June 2nd.
On what date did...
May 25th.
On what day did either you tell the defendant or the defendant tell you that you were not remaining?
I called on June 1st at 4:05. I asked Ed if I could stay another week because my ribs were hurting, and I asked him to stay another week.
Just a second.
Yes?
Just a second. Did he call you on June 1st?
No, Your Honor.
So you received no call from him on June 1st?
No, he was to check out on the 29th, and he didn't check out until June the 2nd, Your Honor. He was asking to extend his stay, and I said no. There was too many complaints. I'd lost too much revenue. There was too much damage. The staff was upset, and all were the guests. Many guests left early.
Just a second. So you said he cannot extend his stay. Does that sound right to you, sir?
Yes.
So, Mr. Barnes, I want you to listen to me. I'm in business. My business is renting rooms in my house. I have a tenant who's no problem, pays their rent on time, doesn't cause any issues, and wants to stay. And I'm going to lose revenue for at least a week before I have another paying customer. So I say to myself, what could it be that a businessman, because he's a businessman, why would he not accept a request for a paying tenant?
Because I was hurt on his property. I would think that maybe that's the reason, because you're asking a very good question, Judge Judy.
Mr. Barnes,
you're asking a very good question.
Mr. Barnes, they don't keep me here because I don't ask good questions. They keep me here because I ask good questions. Here's my next question to you. After the accident happened on May 25th, did you contact a lawyer?
I did. I will say, it's a family friend. My mom, it's from our synagogue.
I don't give a rat's behind whether he lives in your house or he's your mother's boyfriend or he's from the same synagogue. You contacted a lawyer.
Yes.
And you discussed with a lawyer this incident.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
With a view towards having this lawyer represent you in this lawsuit.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Did the lawyer take the case?
No.
Okay, good. Now, I want you to tell me about May 25th.
That's the night when I fell. This is I have a picture of where I was walking.
Would you look up at me?
Sorry. I have all these papers down here. I'm very sorry, Judge Judy.
Tell me the time of the incident.
It's 7:30 p.m.
And you live in California.
I live in California.
And 7:30 p.m. in May, it's sort of getting to be dusk.
Yes,
okay?
yes.
And then you're going to tell me for whom and what time.
That day I was doing DoorDash, so it was just around La Jolla.
What time?
Maybe 2:30 p.m. till around 5 p.m.
Okay, so you got home at 5 p.m. And what did you do?
This is the night I watched TV. I had the TV on.
Could you look at me?
Yes.
Don't look down.
Sorry. And...
No, that day.
Yeah, that day. And then I'm cleaning. And I'm taking the trash out. That was the whole 2 hours of me being there.
So you came home.
What else was I really doing?
You came home, you had dinner.
Yeah.
And watched a little TV, and then you were taking out the trash.
Yes.
And that was at 7:30. So tell me what happened. Look up at me and tell me what happened.
Okay, so it's dark. This is exactly what happened. I'm walking out. There's 3 steps to get downstairs. I'm walking downstairs. You make a right. As soon as you make a right, there's a window. And that's where I walked. I didn't see the window. The window's open. I walked into the window and hit the window, just completely walked into the window with trash in my hand and fell back. And that's when I hit my back, and it's my rib that was injured, apparently. I immediately knew something was wrong. Like, I knew something was like, I'm like sitting there, like on my back, like, you know. And at first I didn't really know what it was, like, honestly. I just knew that my whole side was hurting, so.
Your ribs hurt. Had that been a newly installed window?
I don't know.
And from April 29th until May 25th, how often did you empty your trash?
Every day I would do it. So, I mean...
And when you emptied your trash every day, did you take the same route?
Yes. I would wade my way through plants.
Just a second.
Yep.
Just a second. Now, I assume that you took out your trash at the end of your day after you had dinner. You didn't want to leave your food or whatever, because you said you had dinner. That's what you usually do. You come home, you have dinner, right? And then you take out the trash.
Yes.
So that every day for a minimum of 26 or 27 days, you took the same path to do the same trash run, and they didn't put in a new window.
No.
So this time, you didn't see that the window was open. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you think that that's Mr. McIntyre's fault?
Well, the fault is just by looking at this picture. And then I want you to tell me if you can get through it. And if you can,
just
then,
a second.
then you're
I don't
right.
have to tell you what I'll tell you what I think in about 4 minutes.
Absolutely.
But right now you can show me the picture.
Okay.
Right now you can show me the picture.
I've been dying to use this thing. I also have a text that was...
Now,
yeah.
I got it. Same path that you used every day, and you walked into a window. Now, I actually see that there are several open windows.
Yeah,
there's the one that's closest.
And
then there's another.
Big potted plants.
Sir, did the plants, were they given some sort of a super-duper miracle grow that they grew overnight from May 24th to May 25th when you emptied the garbage?
No.
I mean, did they become Godzilla plants overnight?
No.
It was the same route that you took for 27 days to empty your trash.
Yeah.
This time a window was open. Now, my question to you is, does the defendant control that window, or was that another resident's window?
It's another resident's window that's next to me, and it wasn't the first time that I've hit the window. So just saying.
So you knew about, just a second.
I've known about these
so you
windows,
knew that the window was sometimes open.
Yeah,
Just a second.
I see
and
the
at
windows,
7:30 at night, you're careful. You be careful.
Right.
Why is that the defendant's fault?
There's zero light.
I mean, I know the lawyer tried to explain.
Well, there's no light. If you just, I wish somebody was there. I mean, I'm not a clumsy guy. There's no light in this like little alleyway. You have this tiny little way to walk through. I mean, if you could just you could see it. You could see where the plant is, and that's my designated area. For what I don't.
Go.
Sure, Your Honor. I hired him.
What are you complaining about?
I hired him for $1,700 a month. He was supposed to do social media and build us up, and he said he was going to have it rain guests, and he was going to fill the place up. And when he left, he wrote a scathing review calling me unethical, immoral, He said it was the worst place he'd ever stayed in his life, that he'd give me a 0 if he could, but the lowest he could give me was a 1. Then he had his sister write a letter. It was another scathing review. She didn't even stay there. He had his father write me a scathing review. Didn't even stay there. I had to sell the place because we were losing money regularly, and I took a $500,000 loss, Your Honor, on that property. Not that it was all his fault. His COVID contributed to it, but he certainly contributed it to as well, because he did the exact opposite of what he told me. He said he's going to bring in clients, but in actuality, he defamed me, Your Honor.
Mr. McIntyre, Mr. Barnes is entitled to write a negative review about you. If, however, his relatives who never stayed with you wrote a negative review about you, I think you should sue them, because that they can't do.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He defecated in the alleyway, and I explained to him that the alleyway was only for service.
Mr. McIntyre, who saw him defecate in a public area?
My star witness, Your Honor.
I'd like to hear from you.
Maurice Barnes says he was staying at Edward McIntyre's bed and breakfast when he hit his head walking into an open window. Edward is countersuing for destruction of property, defamation, and loss of revenue.
If, however, his relatives who never stayed with you wrote a negative review about you, I think you should sue them, because that they can't do. You see, he's entitled to do it, but his sister can't, his father can't, his mother can't, his brother can't, because the only way that they would know about that is from him, and it was clearly designed to damage your reputation. And if they suggested in their review that they had been a resident of your place, then you have a perfectly good cause of action against them, not him, because he stayed there. To him, it wasn't a pleasant stay. That's what happens when you advertise on the internet. You're allowed to do that and write a review. Now, damage is another thing. Do you have photographs of the damage?
I have my star witness.
No, I want to see photographs.
Your Honor, we have photographs of the review.
I don't want to see photographs of the review. I want to see photographs of the damage that he is alleging. He's alleging damage.
Here's one. Here's the bathroom. You can see it's totally black.
Okay.
Here's one of the sheets and towels that were destroyed and uncleanable. There's more sheets and towels that were destroyed, and the toilet. And this, Your Honor, this is his actual feces that he left in the laundry room and all over towels, as well as he defecated in the alleyway. And I explained to him that the alleyway was only for service. He was not to use it because it exposed people's bathrooms and bedrooms, and his windows were the ones that were open, not anyone else's.
Mr. McIntyre, who saw him defecate in a public area?
My star witness, Your Honor.
I'd like to hear from that witness. Tell me your name, please.
My name is Susan Martinez.
Ms. Martinez, how do you know the defendant?
He actually stood there at the bed and breakfast in La Jolla.
You stay there?
I was staying there when we started getting complaints of him, yes.
Did you have a room on the first floor, second floor?
Wait, Your Honor, she was the maid at the hotel.
I either stood...
Did you stay there?
I started staying there, yes.
Did you also do housekeeping for
I sure did, yes. We had a number of complaints, so I was told to stay, and I stood there.
No, listen.
Yes.
Listen to me. Don't tell me about complaints.
Okay.
That's hearsay.
Okay.
Judge.
Mom right away on speaker told her what happened when he jumped the fence because he was intoxicated, and then she told him to sue them.
Mrs. Barnes, son ever drink? Does your son ever drink? Is my question. Does your son ever drink?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maurice Barnes claims he was injured while staying as a guest at Edward McIntyre's bed and breakfast.
Could you tell me what, if anything, you observed about Mr. Barnes with regard to any of the photographs that I've seen?
There was different occasions of stuff. One of the maids called me that he was going in, I guess, with his dog.
You can't tell me what one of the maids told you.
So anyways...
Only what you saw.
Okay, well, I seen him coming out of the laundry room, and he had a towel, and before he walked up the stairs to his room, he had brown stuff all over his... I didn't see him in there, but he came out of the laundry room, yes.
Your Honor, what?
What? Just What else did you observe about
his behavior
Mr. Barnes?
and his constantly being intoxicated? A number of times asking him to lower his music because we had guests that would leave. Your Honor, what I do want to say is the day that he fell on speaker, told her what happened when he jumped the fence because he was intoxicated, and then she told him to sue them. That I heard. In front of God Almighty, I heard that.
Did you see him jump the fence?
I did. I was in the John Sousa room. He was jumping.
Go ahead.
He would go to the park across the street with his dog every day, and that's where he was every day.
Just a second.
Yes.
What I'm asking you is, Miss Martinez,
Those are lies.
did you see him on the 25th of May injure himself?
He was jumping the wall gate, is what he was doing.
And did you see him fall?
I did.
You saw him fall?
I did, and he called his mom right away.
You did not see me fall.
Okay. Miss Martinez, why don't you have a seat?
Okay.
Mrs. Barnes, would you stand up for a moment, please?
Yes, Your Honor.
You're his mom?
Yes, I am. Very proud of him, too.
Does his son ever drink? Does your son ever drink? Is my
he
my
drinks.
question. Does your son ever drink? How far away do you live from him? How far
An
away do you
hour
live from him?
drive.
Who lives with you?
I live with my daughter and take care of my granddaughters.
When your son had a fire and he wasn't working anymore, was there no room for him in his sister's house?
No, not really.
What do you mean, not really? It's an emergency.
I guess my daughter was concerned because of my granddaughters. She didn't want, because he does deliveries sometimes. She was afraid. She's a physician too, so she was afraid that he could bring COVID to the house with the granddaughters and the family.
Right. Why don't you have a seat?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Do you have estimates, sir, on the sheets and towels that he destroyed?
No, I got those from Target, $150 for 4 sets of sheets each.
Okay, well, I can't take that from you, sir. Okay. And you rented the room about 6 days later. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Barnes, the lawyer who you spoke to from the synagogue told you had no case, even though the defendant has insurance, which is a very easy thing. Could have sued his homeowner's
Who
insurance.
said I did?
If I'm speaking now. I'm speaking. You have no case. You got hurt because of your own negligence. I don't know whether you were drunk or not, and I don't care. If you were drunk, you were doubly negligent. If you weren't drunk, you walked into a window. It wasn't a window that he flung open days before every single day. And according to you, the window was also open on some of those days. That was your path. If you walk into a wall, it's not the wall's fault. It's your fault. You walked into something. You had an accident. It's your fault. Your case is dismissed. I suggest you sue whoever it was, not him who defamed you. Do you understand?
Your Honor, he's the one who defamed me by calling me unethical, immoral, but he also put his sister and his father up to this.
Well, I don't know whether he did or not, sir, but right now I'm telling you, if you want to sue his sister and his brother, sue them. I'd be more than happy to hear the case. Do you understand?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Perfect. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
He called me a prostitute. His other daughter started calling me names.
I didn't call her no prostitute. I used other words.
I wouldn't smile if I were you.
Next Judge Judy.
Every single one of those allegations were like crazy.
I think he definitely defamed my character and definitely put a hurt on the end.
I don't like hospitals, but I went the next day because
He exposed himself to the maids. He was quite in
I finally knew what rib injury was. That was a rib injury, so.
because we needed the money to pay the mortgage. We were, pulling money out every month to pay the mortgage.
I don't know. I wish they would have given me something to clean the place with. I was there for a month. Nobody's cleaning the place.
I figured it was close to the end, and I talked to him, and he would say that he would behave, but he never did.
Time to move on. God bless,
I'm so glad not to have any more to do with him. He's been the worst guest that I've had in 30 years.
A landlord stacked up his renters.
$600 is what you charged.
6 beds in one room, 5 beds in another.
Now a tenant piles up her complaints.
We have no fire escapes in our room. I was constantly cleaning. There are pictures of me here. Here's one of him illegally dumping.
Are you finished now?
Yeah.
If you move into a place where there are 6 bunk beds, it's not going to be a happy situation.
This is Judge Judy. Renee Baca is suing her former landlord, Kenneth Crawford, for the return of rent, the balance of her security deposit, fraud, and pain and suffering.
Judge, this is case number 208 on the calendar in the matter of Baca versus seat, please.
Mr. Crawford, what kind of a residence do you have where you rent rooms?
I have a residence that houses rooms for usually international folks who come here to train for dancing. I'm a professional choreographer, and I lived in Japan, so that's where I began the business. I'm sorry.
Do you live in the house?
I do live in the house.
Is it a private house?
No, it's not a private house.
What is it?
Like a hostel, but mainly geared towards entertainers. I lived in Japan for some time, and I was out there struggling.
Just I don't.
Okay.
I don't. Listen to me. I don't care.
Okay.
Not that I don't care to hear your life story. That's not what this program is about.
Okay.
For that, you go on somebody else's program. Here, I care about what she's suing for, which a lot of which is nonsense, but she wants the return of her deposit. Tell me what this hostel looks like. Does it look like an apartment house? Does it look like a private house? Does it look like a condo? What does it look like?
I have pictures here, Your Honor, and it's a single-family dwelling.
Okay.
Yes.
So, well, that's an answer. I'm going to get to an answer. It's a single-family dwelling.
Yes.
That has how many bedrooms?
It has 4 bedrooms. 1 is my private, and 3 are for other tenants.
Okay. Doesn't have 6 bedrooms. 1 has 6 beds.
6 beds, sorry, yes. 6 beds in one room, 5 beds in another, and 2 in another.
Those 13 beds, if all occupied, are all occupied by unrelated people.
Yes.
That's a yes.
Yes.
Now, is your private house zoned for that?
As far as I know, yes.
For you to have
I do pay
13,
taxes.
well, I know you pay taxes, but when you have 13 unrelated people that you rent part of a room for, there usually is a license that you require that requires certain inspections.
Okay.
Just answer the question. I assume you have no such license, nor was your dwelling ever inspected to have multiple tenants in each room.
Correct. It has not been.
So the plaintiff answered an ad for a bed for $600, which is what you charged for a bed, according to what I read, a bed in the bedroom that has bunk beds in it, and was occupied by how many people when she occupied that room?
2.
Herself and one other, or herself and 2 others?
There were 2 other people there. When she came in, she would make 3.
Were there?
Yes, there were 4.
While she was there?
Yes, 4.
So during the time she was there, your income from that room alone was $2,400 a month.
Correct.
Now, were there people occupying the bedroom that had 5 beds?
I don't think so. I don't recall. It's been really slow since COVID.
Was anybody occupying the room where there were 2 beds?
Yes, Mr. Inez.
One person?
One person.
And how much was that person's rent per month?
$750 per month.
So in total, you were receiving $3,150 in rent from those tenants in a only partially, according to you, occupied situation.
Yes.
Not bad. Plaintiff lived there for 3 months, Miss Baca. So you...
4 months, ma'am. I'm sorry.
I'm giving... Well, no, she moved in, according to her, on August 24th.
Right.
And she moved out on November 27th. So she lived there September, October, and November.
You are correct, ma'am. Sorry.
Did she pay rent for September, October, and November?
Yes.
And she gave you a security deposit of $110?
Yes. Incorrect. I returned $60, and I have the proof here and the cash.
Okay. Did he return $60, Miss Baca, or $30?
I believe it was 60 after I looked at the Cash App return.
Okay, so that you were mistaken here. So he kept only $50.
I believe so, yes.
Now, I'm going to give you, Miss Baca, less than 2 minutes to tell me why you lived there, you left, you didn't like it. I wouldn't have liked it either, living in bunk beds with 3 strangers that I didn't know. So I wouldn't have liked it. And you didn't have a written lease with him, I assume. Is that right?
I didn't have a lease.
So you can move whenever you want. You're suing him for $5,000, which is money for the return of rent, deposit, fraud, pain and suffering. And what I'm going to tell you is I have an egg timer on my hand. You're a grown-up woman. If you don't like where you're living, you move out. And if you move into a place where there are 6 bunk beds where you're going to share a room with 3 strangers, you should know that it's not going to be a happy situation.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your timer has started.
Okay, so I met him through an ad that he had, a false ad.
I don't care. Just a second. I don't care how you met him. You lived there for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And you were in a bind when you took the room. That's not his fault.
I was homeless.
And you lived there for 3 months.
Yes, Your
And you
Honor.
lived there for 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
So far, he's going to have to explain to me why he kept $50 of your security deposit, not $5,000. This is not door number 1, door number 2, or door number 3, Miss Baca. This is not a huge payday for you. You lived in a place, so I'm sorry, I'm eating into your time. Tell me where $50 becomes $5,000.
Well, I got assaulted, Your Honor, by one of the roommates. The houses do have security throughout the entire house. I asked him for the surveillance tape. He denied me that, so I don't have evidence of physically getting assaulted. Within that time as well, we had no fire escapes in our room. We had an ad for a maid. I was constantly cleaning, and there are pictures of me here cleaning constantly. I got a sty in my eye due to the compound powder that was from the maintenance man that also lived in the house. And these are all the photos that I have. Here's one of him illegally dumping. I had to deal with harassment from the maintenance man, who also left his discharge papers for methamphetamines when my building manager had given him a job to paint and to ask. He's also sending me harassment with texts and pictures that say, and as well, one of my computers was damaged by a roommate for having food and beverages in the bedrooms that we were not supposed to have. So Kenneth told me that I had a safe place to move into. I saw this place. I thought it was fantastic. He told me I could do my artwork. He even gave me a separate space in the laundry room because of all the maintenance work that had been done. My friend here, who's a witness, had used this room with one of the roommates I moved in, who was a photographer. She does a little bit of modeling. He took some pictures of her. A paper was left in the studio, and he didn't give me warning not to use the studio. He just told me I wasn't allowed to use it anymore at all. So considering I had moved in for the creativity of what the house offered, that was then denied to me because of a piece of paper being left in the room. Mind you, I did bring 3 people of my own that have been giving him rent to stay there in the house as well. They asked for a safe place to live, and I recommended him, and we were all there.
Are you finished now?
Yeah.
Good, great. Now you're going to tell me why you kept her $50.
For infractions for not cleaning her dishes. They're all written here in the email.
That you punished her by keeping her $50.
Oh, not just for that. I'm sorry.
Because she broke your house rules. That's the first thing you said to me, which would be the most important thing. So the most important thing is she broke the house rules.
She broke the house rules.
Is that right?
Correct, ma'am.
What else? Anything else?
Besides breaking multiple house rules, no. They was all a combination of that. Clogging the toilet. Her friend, I didn't see the friend, not returning the key, giving away property at her checkout. I have it all in the email. She did eventually. Yeah, okay, I'm sorry. I'm going on. I'm sorry.
You're going on, and don't go on with nonsense.
Yes, ma'am.
Is the reason that you kept her security deposit because she didn't follow the house rules?
Correct.
And that was the only reason?
Yes, correct.
Good. Then your counterclaim for $3,000 is dismissed.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, you talk about other kind of damages, which is all nonsense.
Yes.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $50. Thank you very much. We're finished.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
Kenneth is a fraud. Sleepy Downstairs is a fraud. The roommates there are frauds.
I'm happy with the judgment. $50 is $50.
He has favorites. And obviously, I came here to get justice, and I'm just thankful that Judge Judy knows what she's doing.
Oh, I think Judge Judy he was great, candid, to the point.
I think that he's petty, and anybody else that would see this case would understand what I'm saying.
I provide a service that allows people who are entertainers, who are struggling, who are going through transitions in their life.
He has lock boxes on air conditioning, so you can't even use that.
Now, there's a lock on the air conditioning because she had an argument over 3 degrees with the roommate.
I've moved on to better places.
If you're 38 years old and you need to share a room with 6 other people, more than likely there's something going on in your life, and it's not for me to judge. I've been there.
All parties in the matter of Don versus Moore. Step to the podium, please.
Brian Don is suing fellow motorist Francis Moore for ramming his vehicle when he pulled out of his spot in a grocery store parking lot.
Mr. Don, you and the defendant were in a Trader Joe's parking lot. This incident happened, this automobile accident happened on the 31st of October of this year.
Correct.
And according to what I read in the papers, I'm not quite following the events from what you and the defendant both describe in both your complaint and answer. The long and short of it is you each claim that the other is responsible for an automobile accident, and you were both parked.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
He initially hit my back door, and as he was turning right, his scratch or the damage extended to my front door.
I'm not actually sure. I think you were probably both being a little too stupid.
Brian Don claims fellow motorist Francis Moore was at fault for an accident in a grocery store parking lot. Francis is countersuing for his insurance deductible.
Okay. Do either of you have a photograph of where you were parked or a diagram of where you were parked?
I do. I have a diagram sketch.
Okay. Do you have a photograph?
Yes, I do. I put it on
I'd like to see a photograph.
It's right here.
Okay. Would you, Mr. Moore, one of you was parked in a spot where there was a divider so that nobody could park right next to that car. And that would be is that a white Lexus?
Yes. Yes, that's mine.
Whose car is that?
That's mine.
That's your car?
Mr. Moore's, right.
Okay. And the car next to that car is your car. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And you were both backed into your spots?
Yes.
Correct.
Or had you pulled... Did you back into your spot?
Correct. I backed into my spot.
Did you back into your spot?
I don't remember. I could have pulled forward or I could have backed.
Okay. Because sometimes if there's no car in front of you, you can just pull in to the space
that's what I try to
so
do.
that you can pull out to it.
You don't have to back out.
Okay. Got it. So why don't you start, sir? You and your girlfriend, according to you, were leaving Trader Joe's. And you, sir, were leaving the parking lot where Trader Joe's is. And you were also leaving.
Correct.
Correct?
We came out simultaneously almost.
Okay. So why don't you tell me what happened, sir?
So we had both of our vehicles backed into the spot.
The little car?
Yep. I had the silver vehicle. I was pulling forward. And as I was pulling forward, the defendant's vehicle pulled forward as well and struck me on the right side of the vehicle. The photos of the damage and the potential impact on my vehicle will clearly show that I was fully in the aisle at the time, so I had the right of way, and he should have yielded to me because he had struck me on the passenger side rear door, and because he was also turning right, that scrape extended to the passenger side front door as well. And I have photos of the damage to my vehicle to show that.
I'd like to see your photographs.
So there's a close-up shot of the damage. As you can see, the initial impact was against the passenger side rear door.
Passenger side front door.
Rear door. The first impact was against the passenger side rear door and then extended to the front door.
Where is the damage to the defendant's car?
The left front bumper.
May I see it? Do you have a picture of his damage?
Yep.
May I see it, please? Okay. You had full coverage on your car, so your counterclaim is for the deductible that you had to pay, the $500 deductible. You want to tell me your version of how this accident happened, sir?
He
has damage to the side of his car.
Correct.
And you have damage to the front of your car. His car didn't slide into yours.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You had an accident. Did you have insurance?
I had insurance. I removed collision coverage because of the age of the car, and I had a buyer who was going to purchase the car as well, but turned it down after the damage.
Okay, well, that's too bad. Shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Brian Don claims fellow motorist Francis Moore was at fault for an accident in a grocery store parking lot. Francis is countersuing for his insurance deductible.
Okay, go ahead.
His car and turned right in front of me. You said it properly, Judge, when you said that. You kind of looked at it, and it didn't make sense the way he said it, even to our insurance people, that it didn't make sense that, first of all, I hit his front door. He was in front of me at an angle, about a 30-degree angle or so. So he pulled forward and pulled in front of me and hit me, and you can see that he was here.
Well, what I don't understand, actually, Mr. Don, is how, maybe I'm not processing it, how he would have hit your rear passenger door and then gone into the front door. That is what I'm not understanding from your story.
So,
Mr. Don, that's
so I was turning right when I was exiting my parking spot. So I was in the aisle at the time when he pulled forward, and he was also turning right. So when I was fully in the aisle, he pulled out, turned right, and he initially hit my rear door.
You mean he pulled... What you want me to believe is that, Mr. Moore, you were already in front of him.
Yes, I was.
If what you're saying is that he hit your rear first and then continued to the front, you had to be told he's not backing up, so he's looking straight ahead.
Correct. I was in front of him.
He's looking straight ahead. I don't buy it, Mr. Don. Sorry, not buying it. Okay.
I have a witness here who can corroborate my statement as well.
Well, you have a witness. Is that your girlfriend who was in the car with you?
Yes.
If I brought her up, would she tell me the same thing that you told me?
She will verify my statements, yes. But that's how it happened. I don't know how I could have hit his car from my angle, right? Someone teach me how I could have hit his car from my angle. Unless
I don't know, but I don't understand. I don't understand, Mr. Don, how he could start out at the back of your car and then the damage started at the back passenger door and then continued to the front passenger door. I'm not following that logically.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, go ahead.
Your Honor, he was turning right as I was in front of him. So he initially hit my back door, and as he was turning right, his car slid further, and that scratch or the damage extended to my front door.
Fine. Fix your own car. Sir, fix your own deductibles. Good. You have the bumper fixed?
Everything.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I'm not actually sure. I think you were probably both being a little too stupid, and I'm not getting involved with it. If you didn't have collision on your car, that's your problem. You had an accident. Did you have insurance?
I had insurance. I removed collision coverage because of the age of the car, and I had a buyer who was going to purchase the car as well, but turned it down after the damage.
Okay, well, that's too bad. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. We're done here. Thank you very much. You still driving the car?
Yes, I am.
Good. Goodbye.
This case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy.
You cooked your goose 10 minutes ago.
I don't eat goose.
You're an idiot. I don't know who's going to give you a job as an emergency service person. I wouldn't.
Let's pray you don't need CPR.
I wouldn't need it from you.
Next Judge Judy.
I clearly thought I had a slam dunk case.
She accurately saw what happened.
He suggests that we go our separate ways, which in my opinion implies automatic guilt.
The insurance companies will typically say the person who was coming out of the parking space is at fault. Well, we were both coming out.
Accidents happen.
On purposes don't happen, but accidents do.
I did not think.
Night with the sitter.
The dog ingested something.
A day under the knife.
Your dog had surgery.
He was horrible. In pain, great pain.
And the evidence isn't bouncing her way.
It's a rubber ball. Part of a rubber ball.
Have you ever seen that before?
No.
The dog was in your care.
This is Judge Judy. Lori Gladstone and her husband, Fred Silva, are suing dog daycare owner Shannon Bishop for vet bills as the result of Shannon's negligence.
Judge, this is case number 121 on the calendar in the matter of Gladstone Silva versus Bishop. Parties have been sworn in. Have a seat, please.
Miss Gladstone, you and your husband have this adorable golden doodle puppy, now probably 10 months old.
Yes.
Last month, you were going away for a couple of days. The defendant has a dog boarding service, and it is your claim that owing to the defendant's negligence, your dog ingested a foreign object while at her facility. Your dog had surgery, was in fact a foreign object that was causing a blockage. Your vet bills were over $7,000, and you want the defendant to be responsible for those. That's what the case is about.
Yes, correct.
The defendant has a counterclaim. The defendant's counterclaim is that you, in addition to that you defamed her on the internet in her business. So, a couple of questions. Have you or have you not used the defendant's services before?
Yes, I have.
For this dog?
Yes.
For any other dog?
No, this is our only dog we ever had.
And you never had a dog
No,
before?
I never had a dog before.
This dog, according to you, also suffers from an irritable bowel syndrome for which it takes medication.
Yes, correct.
Is that correct? Prior to October, I think it was 23rd, is that it? October 23rd to the 25th?
Yes.
How many times had you boarded your dog, whose name is Bingo, with the defendant?
Twice.
Were those overnight visits?
Yes.
For how many nights?
In June, it was for 5 nights, I believe, and 2 weeks prior to this incident, it was for the exact same time, 2 nights.
And during the period of time in June, there were no incidents. You were perfectly satisfied with her care of your dog.
No, actually, in June, we had traveled out of state. We extended our stay, and our dog actually was on very specific medicine for his IBS. I mean, food. He was on a specific prescribed diet from the vet. And we decided, which I texted Miss Bishop and told her that we didn't pack enough food, we'd be staying, and this was the exact food we needed for Bingo. And could she please get that? Would that be possible? A few days later, she texted me that he had been projectile vomiting into other dogs' crates. He was very ill and needed to go to the vet, and I was in Mexico. I said, I'm not able to do that. She took the dog to the vet as per our request, and at that point, he had a flare-up of his IBS. We were not sure what the cause was. We came home. He was staying at the vet for 2 more nights. We picked the dog up and had to pick up his belongings when we returned, and realized in the crate of items she gave us back, she had indeed replaced his food with a different type of food. That wasn't his prescribed food, which ultimately caused the flare-up in his IBS. He has a very sensitive puppy stomach and needs to be on a very specialized diet. I didn't
That means he should be with his mother.
Right, I didn't...
That means he should be with his mother. And his mother doesn't pack just enough food and then decide to stay in Mexico.
Well, it was a COVID situation at the time, so it was...
If you went in June, that was during COVID.
Well, the dog was in her care. I entrusted her and her pet sitting service to provide the care.
Ms. Gladstone, personal responsibility. Personal responsibility. You've never had a pet before. You have a pet now that has, according to you, an illness in a young dog. Irritable bowel syndrome in a young dog is an unusual illness. I've had dogs all my life, so I know it is an unusual illness for a puppy. So listen to what you just told me. You went to Mexico during COVID. You left your puppy with her in June. In what month did you get the dog?
In April.
So you had the dog for, let's say, 8 weeks. During that 8-week period of time, the dog was diagnosed with, because I assume you didn't buy the dog.
No, we adopted the dog. We adopted the dog, and It wasn't identified his IBS at that point in time.
Well, he should have been, because if you have a puppy that has a problem immediately, then the first thing you do is take it to a vet within the first week, within the first 5 days, especially if you adopted the dog. What I'm telling you is this is what you just told me. You got a puppy. The puppy was sick. You went to Mexico in June for 5 days. You weren't supposed to be there for 5 days. You extended your stay, but you only for 2 days. You extended the stay and then said to her, this is what the dog needs for its stomach. According to you, she didn't get it, which would have said to me as a pet owner, you know what? The dog was sick. When it came back from her, she returned the dog in the crate. She told me that the dog was sick.
No, she didn't.
I'm not leaving
she
my
didn't
dog
take
again
the
with
dog.
her.
No, she took... Okay.
She told you the dog was sick and projectile vomiting into other dogs' crates, and she took it to a vet. So, according to you, when you got the crate back, you saw that she didn't get the food that you asked her to get for you. So what did you do? You went away again and left your dog again with her.
But there was a period I didn't use her. I didn't use her for a long period of time. Your Honor?
Well, just a second. Did you use anyone else?
Yes, we did. We had my husband's best friend's daughter. Because then it became...
Miss Gladstone, you're not following me. If I leave my child with a babysitter, and I've given specific instructions to the babysitter, and the instructions are not followed, I don't use that babysitter again. Because you did leave the dog again with her twice.
Right. I wasn't dissatisfied with her to that degree. I did not think anything like this could possibly occur. You're absolutely right.
Well,
and since then, I used her for day sitting. Dogs in the neighborhood go to her for play dates during the day from 10 to 3 or 4. I used her so that the dog could play with his friends and other dogs at her house, and I didn't feel like there would be an issue. So after time, we were going...
Miss Gladstone, pay attention. I asked you, when you used her before, my question to you was a simple one when you went off. I said, when you used her before, because you said you had, were you satisfied? You said to me, not really. When I left her in June, and you proceeded to tell me the whole story.
Well, I had questions because I had questions in the back of my mind that I couldn't prove. I couldn't prove it.
I said to you, were you satisfied? You said no. And if you weren't satisfied, I wouldn't have left my dog again. Anyway, what your whole lawsuit is about is that you claimed that while the dog was in her care, the third time you left the dog with her on an overnight stay, and in between you would let her walk the dog, day sit the dog, and I assume continue to be satisfied, and other people in your neighborhood do the same thing, and according to you, that goes to her countersuit. You say that the dog required surgery. On what day did the dog require surgery? Was that the day you came home?
The day after we came home, because I have a letter from my vet right here, if you'd like to see.
I don't read letters from a vet.
Okay, well, the vet said that he ingested it's a medical report. No, it's a medical report. This is a page from the medical report.
Just a second. I will absolutely read a medical report, not a letter.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I apologize. It's a page from the...
Not a to whom it may concern letter.
This is a medical report.
Right. Okay. Where did you go on October 23rd
Palm
to 25th?
Springs. We drove to Palm Springs for 2 nights.
Okay. When you came home from Palm Springs, you came home on the 25th. You took the dog...
Shannon texted me Sunday morning.
Don't try to... We're not... You have to understand something, Ms. Gladstone. We're not equals here. When I start to talk, you have to stop. I ask questions. I hope that you are taking in what I'm telling you. I'm a dog owner. I'm a dog owner who never lets their dog go someplace else overnight. Just not my thing. The dogs go with me where I go, especially a new puppy with IBS problems. Okay, you came home on the 25th and took the dog to the vet on the 26th. What time did you pick the dog up on the 25th?
I picked him up in the evening from Shannon's house.
What time?
I would say it was about
7 p.m. 7 p.m., Your Honor.
Okay. And what time did you take the dog to? When did the dog have surgery?
6 p.m. that evening.
And now I'd like to see the vet report.
That's one piece of it. I have another.
Just a second. Shh. Just a second. Did the doctor give you what they had taken out?
Yes.
I'd like to see it.
It's a rubber ball.
Oh, it's part of a rubber ball. Is that what it is?
Yes.
Miss Bishop,
Yes, Your Honor.
have you ever seen that before?
No. This is actually the first time I've gotten to see the evidence.
It's like a sponge ball.
I am so diligent about what toys I buy for the dogs that come to my house. I do not use balls small enough that dogs can tear them apart. I don't use...
No, that looks like a bigger ball.
This is
it
the
looks
same
like a bigger
size.
ball, but just a piece of it. Is that what it looks like?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
If you're not angry with her, why would you post anything negative?
I'm angry because I took the dog and realized he was not well and needed to be treated immediately.
So why didn't you take him immediately?
Lori Gladstone claims her dog swallowed a foreign object while in the care of dog daycare owner Shannon Bishop.
Okay, I gather, Ms. Gladstone, from this report that I just read the following things. Dr. Liz said that discussed that foreign object most likely consumed within 24 hours of onset of clinical signs. Now, you went away on the 23rd. When did you speak to the defendant when she first reported to you that the dog was lethargic?
10:25 on Sunday at 11:40, she texted me that Bingo had thrown up 3 times over the backyard, his breakfast, and asked if he does that often.
That was on Sunday.
At 11:40.
That was the day you were coming home.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And that was the first time she had told you.
Yes.
He had
And
no
you would drop
symptoms.
the dog off.
He had no symptoms up until throwing up. He was playing Friday and Saturday like there was not a care in the world.
Right, so the...
Okay. According to this doctor,
Correct.
the object was probably ingested within 24 hours of the onset of the problem, which means, Miss Bishop, care when the dog ingested something. Okay, Miss Gladstone, since October, a month has passed since his surgery. How has he been?
Oh, when he recovered from the surgery, he's fabulous. He's on medication. He's on medication to control all of it.
Miss Gladstone, the defendant, based upon what I'm reading, may or may not be partially responsible, but you seem to think that it was as a result of her negligence.
Right, and I will tell you why.
But this is somebody that not only you and all of your friends used consistently for daycare and for overnight care. So if, when playing with a rubber ball, the dog playfully pulled it apart and ate a piece of that, that was the first time the dog was sick in her care. And according to you, it had been on play dates and daycare without overnights and at least 3 overnight visits, 1 for 5 days. So this isn't somebody who's a negligent person. Otherwise, you would be a stupid person to let your dog go to stay with her again at least twice overnight and multiple times during the day. You seem to be angry with her.
I'm not at all angry.
Well, if you're not angry and if you understand that she runs a business many months and that took the burden off of you when you wanted to go to Mexico and Palm Springs, according to your vet, every other weekend, that's according to your vet, that he's taken care of by various sitters when you're out of town, which is frequently. You use her, and if you're not angry with her, explain the posts that you put up about her. You don't know how long that object had been in your dog. Your vet said probably ingested within 24 hours of the onset of the illness. She advised you at 11:40, not even 48 hours after you left the dog with her, that the dog was vomiting, was lethargic. It's possible that the dog ate something in her house. What I'm asking you is, if you're not angry with her, because you seem so angry with her.
I mean, look, it's an unfortunate situation. I was very happy with Shannon's care. I had suspicions about flare-ups in his IBS.
Okay.
I took the dog and realized he was not well and needed to be taken Treated immediately.
So why didn't you take him immediately?
It was late by the time we got him home, assessed him, tried to figure out what course of action to do because his vet was closed. And we thought, you know what? He's exhausted. He looks like he can. And they said, you most likely can bring him in the morning, let him sleep. So 7 a.m. we brought him to our vet. And she diagnosed him and and said he needed to be transported immediately for trauma.
Just a second. You picked up the dog, and the dog appeared to be sick. You said he wasn't himself. We were very worried. He had been throwing up, and he looked awful. My dog, at 7 o'clock at night, I would have taken him to an emergency vet. That's what I would have done.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
But when you are in a service business and somebody is dissatisfied, they are entitled to communicate with their friends her opinion. That doesn't mean that I, in a legal sense, believe you're responsible for what happened to her dog.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Lori Gladstone says dog daycare owner Shannon Bishop owes for vet bills after Lori's dog swallowed a foreign object while in Shannon's care.
Okay. May I see what she wrote about you on the internet?
These were Facebook posts, some of them. I've highlighted some of them. Not even money will make this okay.
I've never mentioned her name once. Never mentioned her name.
Just a second. I'm just reading it. That's your opinion. She's allowed to say that. It was clearly not supervised. Keep going. Okay. Ms. Bishop, I'm going to address your counterclaim.
Okay.
I'm dismissing your counterclaim. I'm dismissing your counterclaim because she is clearly someone who was angry and upset. Her dog was sick. She probably almost lost the dog. She's clearly attached to the dog. She's never had an animal before. She leaves the dog with other people when they go away. And the dog is a dog that has its own problems and had its own problems from probably a very young age, who probably this exacerbated ingesting something in whosever care it was, who, when he ingested it, probably exacerbated a pre-existing condition.
Certainly.
She was upset.
Certainly.
And she was venting to friends and neighbors. I'm sorry that you had people cancel
The
on you,
problem
but
with that is 90% of my business is referral and word of mouth. I only have my reputation to go on. So when this being thrown through the mud through people who know me and could possibly potential customers, that's a problem for me.
That's always true. But when you are in a service business and somebody is dissatisfied, they are entitled to communicate with their friends of her opinion. That doesn't mean that I, her dog.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. She left her dog with you for 48 hours. Within that period of time, the dog developed symptoms that she said hadn't happened before. Well, she came home, and what she didn't do the night that she came home is she went to sleep, put the dog to sleep until the next morning. And if your dog is that sick, then if you are a dog person, which you're becoming, you take the dog to an emergency facility if you think that it's a life-threatening situation. That's what you do.
I didn't hear it was life-threatening.
I can't. Well, if you didn't think that it was life-threatening, why would you think that she would think it's life-threatening?
Because she's a professional, and I didn't realize he was throwing up all day. I just wanted to know.
I don't understand. I actually don't think you should have an animal. Actually. I think that you have a certain lifestyle, and your lifestyle is inconsistent with caring for an animal that's going to be sick, probably, and be on medication forever.
Well, that's not what the doctor wrote in her report. The doctor.
Anyway, your case is dismissed. We're finished. We're done.
Case is concluded. Parties are excused.
And on the next Judge Judy. Card.
The refrigerator trailer ran out of fuel because he was in gambling.
You know that I think that you're a thief.
Judge Judy.
This dog is a part of our life. It's our family.
I was not negligent. I am so careful about how I care for those dogs like they're my own.
You know, we're just